Okay, so what is a variable? A variable, like I say, is a letter. A variable is a letter, and it can be X, Y, Z, any letter you want. It can be A, B, C, usually lowercase letters, and or any other letter. And it is used as a stand-in for some number that we're looking for. Sometimes a problem might have more than one letter because we're looking for more than one number. But if there is a number with the letter 3x, this means that it's x times 3 or 3 times x. The x doesn't mean times anymore. The x represents a number. It might be 5. If we discover in our work with the problem that x is equal to 5, then we will know that 3 times x is 3 times 5, which is 15. So don't get too worried about it. Just recognize this letter is called a variable. They call the number next to it a coefficient. I don't think anybody's going to quiz you on that. The coefficient, it just means the number 3 times x. Okay, for example, that means 3 times x. Okay. Howdy. Now, this is a very simple and very typical algebra problem, and I can use it to illustrate two things. There's different things you do with an algebra problem. This one we're going to solve, and that means we're going to find out the value of x. We're going to find out what number is x. It's that simple. The secret to finding out what is x is we have to isolate the variable. It's like the variable is sick, and we want the variable on one side of the equation, and we want everything else on the other side, okay? That's how you solve an algebra problem, by isolating the variable on one side of the equal sign. What that means is we want to move the 6 or get rid of the 6, okay? The way we do that is important. So there's two things you want to do in algebra. A-B-L-E. You isolate the variable on one side of the equation. And then the other law of solving an algebra problem is whatever we do on this side of the equal sign, we have to do on this side of the equal sign. If all we did was take away 6, this would no longer be an equal sign. That would be all out of balance. If it was like a balanced scale where the equal was in the middle, if all we did was magically take away the 6, it would be out of balance. On a balanced scale, whatever you do on one side, if you put a weight on one side, you have to put the same amount of weight on the other side, or the thing becomes out of balance. The same thing with this is so isolate the variable, and the way we do that, we're going to figure out how to do that. But the main thing is, whatever you do on one side, okay. But this is the other law of algebra that you absolutely need to stick in your brain. And isolate the variable. Whatever you do on one side of the equation, you have to do on the other side. Okay? That's the main dealio. So in order to isolate the variable, I'm going to move the 6. I'm essentially going to move the 6 to the other side, but here's the deal. To get rid of 6 on this side, I have to subtract 6. So I'm gonna rewrite the problem down here. X plus 6, and then I'm going to put minus 6, and equals 17. Now I did a minus 6 over here, so I have to do a minus 6 over here. Minus 6. Okay, so Now 6 minus 6 is 0. So now I just have the x on one side equals 17 minus 6, which is 11. So I've solved the problem. What I've done is I've solved the problem. The cat says, meow. What I've done is solve the problem by isolating the variable by itself on one side of the equal sign. And I did that by subtracting 6 from this side. But you can't just take 6 from this side. You have to do the same on the other side, or it's not equal. It's not an equation. So I subtracted 6 here and I subtracted 6 there. X is equal to 11. The answer to the problem is 11. So if we went back in and we plugged 11 in here, it would be 11 plus 6 equals 17. So that's solving a rudimentary algebra problem. Remember those things and you will do pretty well solving problems if you just remember. Your goal is to isolate the variable on one side, but whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other.